It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And now for my favorite part of the show, wherein I get what's in Tim's background. The easy one this week, Tim. You got Jimmy Kimmel hiding behind Erica Kirk's skirt. Am I right? Huh?
No, I'm actually hiding behind in backstage at the State Farm Arena here in Arizona, where there's still a bunch of pyrotechnics that were not used at the memorial service.
Looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a lot of fun there.
Yeah. Well, it was twice as full. It was twice as full last week. So,
did you watch the memorial service?
I did not.
Neither did I. I mean, well, I had to watch the
Well, we don't want to break a record, do we?
No, to actually be involved and pay attention.
Actually report on something we saw. That doesn't work.
Yeah. Me, everything's secondhand's pretty good. Third hand and fourth hand is the best. No, I had to watch the Bears and Red Zone. It was Sunday. My wife did watch the service and commented throughout on it. So that counts. I think, it's part of the marriage contract. So, I delegated that to her.
So did she come into the TV room and tell you what was going on every so often?
She's listening. No, she was watching on her. She was actually sitting next to me and watching on her iPhone, and she had the headset on. And, every so often.
Oh, you had the Red Zone +1.
She's just, well, I wanted the memorial service, as part of Red Zone, like in the 8th box there. But, now they have to have their commercials and everything. They're 15 seconds an hour, I think. So, anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel, I think the Tylenol did it to him. Is that the excuse that he's using? Did you see his apology at all? Have you read about his apology?
I saw clips of his apology.
Me too.
I couldn't bear to actually, and I wasn't going to be one of those 6 million that tuned in to see what he had to say.
Right.
My attitude is if there's anything important, it'll be excerpted tomorrow, and I could easily wait until Wednesday.
Yeah, I didn't watch either. I understand he went on for about 12 minutes. I mean, to me, the whole Kimmel thing was that what it comes down to, I mean, technically, he never said that it was a MAGA person who did this. Technically, his whole thing was to show how desperate the MAGA was, but he was desperate to show how desperate MAGA was, because by the time that monologue came out, which I think was like a week ago Monday, that by the time the monologue comes out, we already knew from the governor of Utah that it was a lefty who had done it. I think the morning after the monologue came out, they then had the transcript of the phone call. But before that, the evidence was overwhelming, and he just blithely went past that because they live in a bubble. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, it's tantamount to a lie.
I got in a few arguments online about it because like as soon as it happened, you knew. Okay, it's Charlie Kirk. He wasn't aiming for anyone else. He was aiming for Charlie Kirk. Why was he aiming for Charlie Kirk? Hello, because a bullet is the only way a liberal can win a debate. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. It was almost like a script that you wouldn't have believed if we're in Hollywood, because Charlie Kirk was talking about transgenders right when he was being shot.
Well,
I mean, he was talking about their propensity for violence, which, by the way, I mean,
that's just kind of like Wheel of Fortune. There's a lot more $1 winners than there are $10,000 winners. So I mean, the odds are pretty good that Charlie's going to be talking about transgenders.
Yeah, no question about it. And that's when he was shot. And but no, we don't know the motive. I mean, okay, fine, but
yeah, it's
anyway,
right away they came out and said, well, his parents were strict Christians and always voted Republican. It's like, oh yeah, Yeah, this is the first kid that didn't rebel against his parents in history.
It almost sounded like it was a bunch of cat ladies deciding this because yeah, if you have a family at all, I mean, I have a big family, and there's no unanimity on, especially from younger people.
Sure.
They go their own way or they rebel, like you say.
Oh no,
So
they go the exact opposite.
yeah,
It's been my observation. They go the exact opposite until they reach middle age when they realize their parents were right.
exactly. Well, look, I don't necessarily have standing to to comment on, any of the liberals who mocked Charlie Kirk or Jimmy Kimmel for doing his shtick, because my old formula: the tragedy plus zero equals
Right.
comedy. And I mean, I go back to, there was a Chicago newscaster named Faye Flynn who died, and I made fun of his death, like because you got to do it while it's fresh, especially nowadays. Well, I mean, because the
Oh
Overton
yeah.
window on mocking somebody who died. So no, I had brought up at the time, because they had all these testimonials on his behalf, and one of them was from then Mayor Harold Washington. And he said, Faye was a wonderful man. He didn't bother you, like with the follow-up questions. So I go, like, he basically said that he wasn't a journalist. Okay,
Right.
and then my program director at the time on the radio said, don't do that. And then, of course, my other famous example is when Bob Collins, the WGN radio guy, died. It was really tragic, and it was in an airplane crash. And the next morning, the TV newscasters that I worked with, and I really like these people, they were calling him Uncle Bobby. And I knew that they had never, ever listened to him. Whereas I actually knew Bob Collins. And I said, look, I understand it's horrible. It's a tragic thing. But at any point, are we going to be allowed to say how bad he was on the radio? Okay, well, so, I know, but it was just the whole thing with Charlie Kirk was it's one thing you could be critical of what he stood for. That's fine, and you don't have to observe a certain grace period, but you do have to have your facts straight, and that was just, it just wasn't the truth.
Right.
He's trying to mislead everybody. Oh, it's all about MAGA being desperate to show that it wasn't MAGA. No, by that point, they weren't desperate at all. You're the one who was desperate. So, but
It was funny. It was funny. It was supposed to be a joke. And no one laughed. I mean, he paused right there after he said, play, they tried to make it look like it was anyone else than themselves.
Yeah. Right.
Nothing.
No, right.
Nothing.
So,
not even a chuckle.
Just let's bring Hillary into this, of course, because she always wants to get her 2 cents in. She wants to remain relevant. Apparently was she on CNN or the Today Show or something? And she was just saying, oh, she wishes she could be like Trump and could just, put the pressure on and get rid of people who speak out against her. What this woman did, among other things? And I want to thank, Andy McCarthy, my friend, for pointing all these things out. Do you know that there was a United Nations Human Rights Council resolution 16/18, which it was going to bind concurring governments to enact laws that would prohibit speech or expression that could incite mere hostility to religion. And by religion, we mean Islam, of course.
Uh-huh.
And she had to backpedal on that. But then she said, well, that she would use some old-fashioned techniques of peer pressure and shaming so that people don't feel that they have the support to do what we abhor. I mean, if that doesn't sound like Trump saying Jimmy Kimmel should be off the air, it's the same damn thing. And I wish they did do that stuff. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I think she actually, I think she criticized him because, having the FCC guy do it, that's not the way Hillary would silence somebody.
she'd kill his cat. That's what she'd do. What was the woman's name whose cat was killed?
Oh yeah, that was
Kathleen Willey. Kathleen Willey, I want to say. Am I right
That
about
was,
that?
yeah, that was
Do I
the
have-
one. That was the one who, yeah. Then the guy came by the next day and said, "How's your cat?" So
Okay, so I win.
you got a couple good looking kids there too. But that
I'll
was,
take
yeah, sure.
Clinton bimbos for 1,000, Alex.
But
Although she wasn't a bimbo.
that wasn't the Vince Foster method, though. That was,
Oh, not at all. So many. There was this Cubs player. There is this a Cubs player named Matt Shaw, and he actually was a friend of Charlie Kirk's, and he was invited by Erica Kirk to come to the memorial. So he took a game off last week. You know, right there in the
in the
throes
playoffs. You don't
playoffs. Well, it's not the
there's no-
playoffs yet, and they had already
there's
clinched
no
the playoffs.
grieving in baseball.
That's right. So anyway, this Bruce Levine, who's a reporter for the Score, or as I like to call it, the Scoros, he says the Chicago Cubs excused third baseman Matt Shaw today in order to attend his friend Charlie Kirk's funeral. And I could just see Bruce saying that through gritted teeth. And with tobacco juice coming out of it, because I mean, I like Bruce, great reporter for years. I remember being down in Sarasota at the brand new White Sox facility in Sarasota. This is 31 years ago, and we're standing there on the field before a practice game, and he is talking to me, and he's chewing tobacco. He thought he was like one of the ball players, and he was spitting like at our shoes, and and I just thought, oh, okay. So anyway, I
was sitting next to a guy on the plane, was probably the most polite tobacco chewer I've ever met. He
Really?
he had like a McDonald's cup with a straw, and I thought he was drinking the entire time he was sitting next to me.
Yeah.
So I realized no, that the fluid was going the other way.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great way to end a segment here. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. So, I'd mentioned this last week. Yeah, you weren't here last week. I get all my weeks mixed up. I think
I wasn't here last week. You weren't here the week before.
Right. I think it's bears repeating, of course. I think it's possible Charlie Kirk was a fan of mine. Okay.
Wow.
Well, he went to Wheeling High School. He was a kid. He was at Harper College. He definitely said that he listened to Prager, who was on WIND at the time. Chris told me last week that his family listened to Rush Limbaugh, who was on WLS, that was our station, Dan Proft and mine. And we had the morning show or the midday show. It depends on which time. I kind of think Charlie Kirk listened to us.
Wow.
He never did like a Charlie chit chat or anything like that, Chris, did he? But anyway, anyway, speaking of, it being all about me, what's among my favorite topics? What are they? Who do I like to talk about? A lot.
Don Lemon.
Exactly. Is right. Okay.
Is Don? You haven't talked about Don Lemon in a while.
Well,
though.
let's talk about him right now. So Anita Padilla, who I think I worked with for a short time at Channel 5. Yes, Chris says myself is my favorite topic. Sure. But myself in relation to other people whom I can't stand. Okay. So Anita Padilla, and then she was at Channel 32 for a while, had a tweet about Don Lemon the other day. You could always chime in on great stuff. So she said, this is what he took away from Charlie Kirk's memorial. Don Lemon is someone who I worked with in New York City and Chicago, even attended my wedding celebration. That was many years ago. He lost his way a long time ago, but this is surprising. I am praying for him. What happened was Lemon slammed the Christianity aspect of Charlie's memorial and claims it was only there to demand submission. Whatever. Okay. So at least he didn't say that, Charlie got swallowed up by a black hole. All right. Like that flight did. I then asked Anita, I said, Anita, I'm pretty sure I remember a couple of Rob Feeder columns in the Sun-Times years ago about Don Lemon refusing to do assignments at Channel 5. Which
that's one of your favorite stories.
It is my favorites. So, so Anita then said yes, and he would get into arguments with a number of people over petty things. One time, a reporter said something about a criminal being caught red-handed, and it became a huge blow-up when Lemon accused the longtime Chicago reporter, who was very good at his job, of being a racist. I mean, it was ridiculous and way over the top. So, you like to dance on Don Lemon's career, his late career.
Wait, I'm puzzled. Red-handed.
It's somehow racist. I don't know.
Huh.
Might have been, a Native American reporter for all I know. I don't know.
Huh. Well, I guess I guess if your palms are a different color than the back of your wrist, I mean,
Yeah, I see where you're going with this, Tim. You want to keep going down this track? Go right ahead, man. But I'm getting off this train.
Did you ever see Neil Diamond's Jazz Singer movie?
This is where is he doing an Al Jolson impersonation?
It's the same plot, but they do have a blackface scene.
Okay.
And he goes in blackface because it's an R&B band and they lose their singer. And he said, I can do it. He goes, yeah, but it's a black club. He goes, well, we can make this work. And then so he goes into the club and he's blackface, of course. You have to do a blackface if you're doing the Jazz Singer. And he sings a Neil Diamond song, and all the people in the R&B club are grooving to it, which is, come on, it's a Neil Diamond song. And then it comes to the solo part, and he starts clapping.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as he starts clapping, everyone goes, "Wait a minute." And I thought when I first saw it, I thought, well, it's because he's clapping off beat is why they knew.
No,
but then I thought about it. Oh,
so we start out with such lofty ambitions here, talking about political theory, protection of the First Amendment, then we descend into tobacco juice cups and airplanes and jazz hands. Anyway. So that's enough about Don Lemon. So how about? So we had a tragic, horrifying shooting at an ice facility. There have been about 3 or 4 of them, and of course, nobody knows the motive of the guy there, even though it said on the bullets what it was.
Well, have you seen the picture of the bullets?
No.
It looks to me like it was a pretty rush job. It's he didn't take a lot of time writing anti-ice on that bullet. It looks to me like it might have been an FBI agent who
a post-op job, an FBI agent
kind of pulled out a Sharpie and just went, we don't want this. We don't want people arguing about this in the press for another week.
So here you go. Hey, leftists out there. Tim Slagle joining your side on this one.
No, I'm not. I'm sure he was anti-ice. I mean, there's no doubt.
But we just wanted to confirm it. Just help it along. Help the proof along a little bit.
Yeah.
We know where he was coming from on that, even though he shot the detainees and not the ice guys. Anyway, so I mean, but this keeps happening over and over again. And there was that guy at the ABC building. He shot into the ABC building a while back. And he had 3 felonies, and he was back on the street in less than a day. It's
that wasn't. I thought it was Jimmy Kimmel that actually.
that they were shooting at Jimmy Kimmel.
No, I thought Jimmy Kimmel was shooting into the building. I thought.
Right. And Olbermann had to retract pretty fast because it looked like he was threatening Scott Jennings of CNN. I think there's a little bit of envy. That's, some people actually watch Scott Jennings and nobody sees Olbermann anymore. But he basically said on a tweet, "You're next." And then he tried to explain later, and he deleted the tweet. He said, "You're left next, MFer." But
what's Keith Olbermann doing right now? Does he
he's tweeting?
He even have a podcast?
I don't think he does. I don't think he's. Yeah, I don't think he's. He does have a podcast according to Chris. Okay. Is it in the top 3 million like ours is, Chris? Or anyway, So anyway, he deleted that tweet, and he said, he was just saying that Jennings was going to lose his job, not his life. So
Quickly on Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
Whenever we use him as the like the picture, when we talk about him for a while and he does something really stupid, I'll put him as the image for the show and say something about him. We will get
People say, "Boy, it looks like Slagle lost weight."
no, we will get attacked by his minions.
Good.
Oh, really?
They will come and call you guys no talents, and then we always get
Right.
so.
Huh.
I actually talked to Keith Olbermann. We both worked at NBC at the same. I mean, he was with MSNBC, and that was really his heyday. I mean, he was the anchor for that network for a while until he blew up. But I was at Channel 5, so within the company email, we would talk. But there was one point where it looked like he was going to replace me at WMVP in the mornings on the radio. This is before his MSNBC days. So I was talking to him about it, and he said no, actually he wasn't a morning person, but they were talking about doing it in the afternoons, and he was going to do that. He actually flirted with taking over a slot that I basically was going to vacate.
Is that with Steve Dahl?
Steve and I, our thing had blown up, and Jimmy DeCastro was looking for somebody to. He apparently talked to Olbermann about this. So, but nothing ever came of it. All right, let us move real quickly to Tylenol. I'm trusting that you got some great conspiracy theories on this one, Tim. My whole thing is, to me, I always turn it into Broadway musicals. Trump comes off as like Robert Morris in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. He basically takes old ideas that been on the shelf, didn't go anywhere, and now he's repackaging it and trying to sell it. And there was nothing new in any of the research, and it doesn't look like pregnant women are going to stop taking Tylenol. They shouldn't take it, in large doses toward the end of pregnancy, but you can actually cause problems for yourself if you don't take the Tylenol, because maternal fevers can affect babies too. So, I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Whatever happened to aspirin?
Well, actually, aspirin, apparently that's not that good either. I mean, there's trade-offs. Anyway, it doesn't. And then there's this Harvard study.
What about willow bark?
There you go.
I mean, that's the same compound that's in aspirin.
There was a Harvard study, and that guy, he actually testified in a case against Tylenol. The judge didn't allow his testimony, though. It said that he didn't have real scientific basis for it. I mean, like I say, it was a lot of talking. It's Trump overstating the case, saying don't use it at all. It's just.
Have you seen the TikTok videos of pregnant women taking Tylenol?
No, what is it?
Yeah, they're essentially, it's like, Trump says we shouldn't take Tylenol. Oh, good. And it's there's a meme that came out. It's Trump says don't drink your own urine, and the next thing is a blue-haired woman with a bottle of yellow stuff.
Man. No, I think this is a way of making sure that the population goes down even further, because now if women can't take Tylenol at all during pregnancy, maybe they're should I say pregnant people don't take Tylenol. There may not be that many more babies. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And I gotta love Trump at the United Nations. I mean, why did he basically wants to tear it down? The escalator didn't work. We've got an escalator moment when he announced that he was running for president back in 2015.
I think the company that works on the escalators at UN is probably the same company that works at O'Hare.
Okay. Yeah, and then the teleprompter didn't work, and he had to work, which is fine with him. because then he just got to complain about the teleprompter and the very meta, very Steve Dahl like.
I think it's not as emergent as it was with Biden. I mean, Biden, they had to have 6 people on the teleprompters to make sure that they kept running. I mean, then they had backups and stuff like that because when the teleprompter stopped for Biden, it stopped. Because I don't think Trump uses the teleprompter when it is working.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can get hypnotized by the teleprompter if you're not paying attention to what you're saying. I always found that I had to think about the words that I was speaking, even if they were my own words in the teleprompter, because otherwise you could just start going by rote, and it's no good. And I used to sit next to the late and beloved Dick Johnson, the phallically named newscaster for Channel 5. And I could almost tell, because I'd be watching him read the prompter and I'd be sitting next to him, and I could almost tell when he was going to screw up because he got into a certain cadence. He was just, he wasn't really listening to the words that he was saying. I mean, you've got to pay attention to what you're doing. And here's the thing. And then if you get stuck to the prompter, even if you're a great ad-libber, it's hard to switch out of it and just start talking off the cuff, because you're like married to the prompter. So it's not that easy.
I've never used one, so I defer to your expertise.
Yeah, the prompter was great. It was terrific because you look at the camera and the words are right in the prompter, so it looks like you're looking right at the viewer, but the words are right there. They used to be
the technology.
Yeah, well, they used to be that the words were off to the side or lower. You have to look up, and God forbid you actually had to look down at a script.
And it was all typed on paper, and it had to have a guy there with a crank reeling it.
Right, and I think I've mentioned where Johnny Morris, the greatest sportscaster in Chicago history, his producers, but still a jock, of course, at heart. The producers would, when they were paper prompters, they would draw little penises on over the words, and he'd start cracking up on the 5 o'clock news. He just start breaking up. He couldn't. Nobody knew what he was laughing about, but now you know the rest of the story. So, Trump, it looks like, for the moment anyway, that he's on Ukraine's side as of this writing. But he was talking about, hey, if Russian jets fly over your countries, go ahead, shoot them down. He's gotten on Europe and India for taking Russian oil, basically subsidizing Russia. And he seems to be, very cozy with Zelensky at the moment.
Sure. But I mean, that's the way you got to play it when you're negotiating a deal between two third parties.
I guess so. I guess it's
you got to take one side when you think that they have the advantage, and then you take the other side when you think they have the advantage.
All right, I'll follow your lead on that. Hey, gotta love Kamala coming back and being homophobic. I mean, isn't that great? She said that she couldn't take Buttigieg as her vice president because she had only 107 days. How many days is it? Is it like prunes? Are 4 enough? Are 6 too many? What does 107 days have to do with it? They make it seem like it's a big deal that she was able to pick her vice president in 2 weeks. You pick the vice president when you pick the vice president.
Well, you need a couple years to shall I say, ease Pete into the campaign. You need a couple appearances on Modern Family so people are comfortable with Mayor Pete.
Right.
Maybe Mayor Pete and his husband belong to the same daycare center as.
Would you please repeat what I love is that joke. It's a friend of yours, a comedian, I think, talked about
the Modern Family couple. Yeah, he referred to them as Gamus and Andy.
And we said that in the context of the fact of that apparently after winning the Obergefell decision and getting awarded with same-sex marriage, that only 10% of gays take advantage because they don't really want to get married.
No, but they're guys.
But the Modern Family guys did, and they're the anomaly.
Sure.
Holy mackerel there, Andy.
Yeah, they're a gay couple that never has sex. Just a little bit of kissy here and there. That's about it. There's never a hot and steamy scene with the gay couple on Modern Family.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Um, so so she didn't want him because he was gay, and Shapiro was too much of a Zionist Jew. I mean, everything that the Democrats are supposed to stand for, they were exactly the opposite.
Sure.
It's wonderful that they.
Yeah, and she said America wasn't ready for a black woman president. It's like, come on, Kamala, we had one for 8 years.
Hi-oh! Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Well, I won't be there. It's Yom Kippur, but
and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that it's that she hasn't. She campaigned for 107 days, but she hasn't done her 90-day treatment yet. Because I don't know if you've seen any of her interviews. Is she's still tipping before she goes on camera?
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
But it's nobody has the courage to go, Kamala, you think no one notices, but everyone notices. It's just friendly sources won't say that they notice you're slurring.
Does she need to, get a little liquored up in
It
order
would
to make
it would
public
appear
appearances?
it would appear.
Yeah.
I all the interviews I've seen her do, she's a little bit like this.
Yeah.
And people are just not ready for a black woman president. I've been working in bars long enough to recognize it.
Sure, they weren't ready for. I don't. Yeah. Well, as somebody said, you mean they weren't ready for a black woman against multi-convicted felon who dreams up all these conspiracy theories, is very much a polarizing figure. You somehow couldn't beat him. Okay, because they weren't ready for a black female. All right. I don't think that really
a black woman who can't even talk like a black woman.
That's true.
It's,
well, Hillary Clinton knows how to talk like a black woman.
Actually, I think Hillary Clinton does better black voice than Kamala does.
Yeah.
And why would she? I mean, come on. She was raised by an Indian mother in Canada.
Right.
She can't do black voice. She can do call center voice. I'm quite sure of that.
I don't know. I don't want a drunk call center person. The call centers don't really want her. Yeah, go ahead, do something that's not dangerous, like be the vice president. But call centering is a tough job. Okay, so there's a controversy again about the. I want to make sure I get it right. The HB1 visas. I'm always confusing that with some kind of disease, but
a virus. Yeah, it does look like a virus.
Yeah, it looks like a virus. And the Seth Bannon says American citizens who relied on H-1B visas to work here, and he, it's like the Zoom founder, all these looks like a bunch of AI stuff that we're going to be.
Yeah, speaking of call center voice,
yeah, right. There's a lot of names here. Here's the problem, and then my pal Jim Pethokoukis said it looks like these people with those visas created a lot of value in our society. And value schmalue. You know what Zoom did? Zoom democratized TV. Everyone is on TV now, which means it wouldn't be special for me to do the sports on Channel 32 or Channel 5 anymore. And they don't want me anyway. And so, here I am relegated to doing the spelling bee.
Well, I think more people watch this show than watch Channel 5 or Channel 2 anymore anyway, Bruce. So it's really...
That's the problem. It used to be a big deal. So, right, sure, it made, it sped up the economy and nobody can live without it anymore. But, I want to go back to the horse and buggy, the Conestoga wagon era, cha-cha. Pardon my Dennis Miller. So then there's this Oil London guy has this list of trans kids from celebrities,
mm-hmm.
and it's fascinating. if you look at this list here, we just had the
Well,
list of
come on, a trans kid is the new
H1B.
Malawi child.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jennifer Garner's daughter.
Trans is the new black, so to speak.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner's daughter, who spoke before the UN. I mean, that place is worthless. She had a mask on, and she wanted people to still be wearing masks. The daughter of Cynthia Nixon, who I got to think, of the four women on that show, I'm thinking, the one that you least would like to have hopped into bed with. Am I right about that?
I
mean, even Sarah Jessica Parker was better.
I've never watched the show.
Robert De Niro's son, Naomi Watts, Marlon Wayans, Charlize Theron, Cher's daughter, all these people. And
Is Elon Musk on that list? Or did he disowned his?
I'm wondering if it's possible that people are trans because they've got nowhere to go after their famous parents who are so successful. I mean, is that a possibility?
Sure.
That I mean,
sure. And it's also, I think it's a status symbol. I think it's
right.
We
know there's a social contagion. I mean, this didn't exist before. Two things in our society now: trans and autism, and well, part of it, and I don't know if Tylenol caused people to become trans, but another thing with the autism is it seems like there are the children of engineers, male and female engineers, are more likely to become autistic.
Yeah,
and remember, it used to be that men would marry women who weren't quite as smart. They married their secretaries. Now you've got these, high-powered executives marrying each other all the time. Now would be a good time to insert your Tylenol joke.
I don't know. I just think I want to be trans autistic, Bruce.
Yeah.
Because that'll make me seem smarter than I actually am.
There you go. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Just circling back here to Erica Kirk. I don't want to tell somebody how to live their lives. But it almost seems like it's too soon to forgive. I mean, and I know that's the Christian thing to do. And maybe sometimes you got to be like Tony Robbins, fake it till you make it, and just say it. But to me, you got to kind of go through whatever stages there are before you're even able to forgive. Interestingly, Jimmy Kimmel.
It's easy to say you forgive, but I guarantee when he gets, when the judge gives him the death penalty, inside she's going to be going, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can forgive, but doesn't mean you don't get punished.
Yeah, it's easy. It is easy to forgive when the guy is in the justice system, and the DOJ is not going to be as forgiving as Christ would be.
Well, right. Let the American public and our justice system do its job. But yeah, you could personally forgive. But it was interesting that Jimmy Kimmel, like I said at the top of the show, that I thought the picture was of your background. It was of him hiding behind her skirt, because he said in his so-called apology, his sorry not sorry apology, that he liked what she was saying. We got to forgive, and he's a Christian, and we got to okay, fine.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you talk to Erica, she'd go, you know what, Jimmy, there's no forgiveness for that joke. And it wasn't offensive. It was just insulting to comedy. That's all.
Now, I'm asking, for those of you who are not watching this right now, Chris has been putting up a bunch of pictures of Erica Kirk, and I can't tell the difference between the pictures that he's putting up of her and the pictures of Sydney Sweeney, and I'm wondering if it was inappropriate for him to do that now. Chris, do you have anything? Can you answer for yourself right here?
Two things. I mean, people need to know what she looks like, so we have to.
Absolutely.
But also, I found her her speech completely phony. The 2 speeches she's done just
Okay, here we
completely
go.
phony, doesn't it? Tim, did you see any of her first speech from Turning Point when she did the Charlie Kirk show when she came on? It's just so overly dramatic.
I did not. I
Do you
do
think
not.
she was like running for Miss? Well, she was a Miss Arizona, wasn't she?
She was Miss Arizona.
So do you think she was basically running? Basically.
I think she has that training that it comes off.
A pageant kind of speech.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Right. I don't think. I don't think people are saying that she's probably a better speaker than he was, and I don't. I'll agree with. I don't see it.
Right. Like him or not, he was very genuine when he spoke.
Yep.
And the second thing, I forgot what I was going to say. The other conspiracy theory is that her family, they moved to Arizona. Her mother did, to work for the government and works at Homeland Security, and that's one of the other wild conspiracy theories that's going around, that she's part of helping set him up. And Charlie Kirk has been hated by the deep state for a long time, et cetera, et cetera.
So Erica Kirk's family.
Her mother works for for Homeland Security.
So this is just a way of launching Erica Kirk to
dismantle Turning Point.
To dismantle Turning Point. Okay.
You gotta stay up on the conspiracy theories, Bruce.
I mean, to dismantle Turning Point, or to take it over?
Take it over and not be as effective as was. And she's gonna.
Because the Jews had gotten to Charlie Kirk. Am I right? Am I right?
I mean,
this is a Mossad. This is a Mossad operation.
Mossad operation came up as like the first one.
Well, it's always,
because he didn't take the money from what's his name, Ackerman.
Yeah, the first suspect got to be the Jews. All right. Let us turn right now to Cardinal Supich. He's in a little bit of hot water because he wanted to extend a Lifetime Achievement Award to retiring Senator Dick Durbin, and who was not so fondly named Sack of Durbin by me many, many years ago. That's how we referred to him on the show on the WLS that we did. But the story is, some reporter came up that months after a 2020 staged phone call, Cardinal Supich and between Cardinal Supich and Senator Durbin, where he promised more dollars to the archdiocese, Durbin's powerful Senate Appropriations Committee approved COVID relief that directly benefited the Chicago Archdiocese to the tune of $77 million, the second highest loan of all U.S. archdioceses. And Chicago also got the single largest loan of all Catholic charity affiliates in the country, $8 million. I got to think, the White Sox fan, Pope, has got to pull Seinfeld and tell Chicago, no Supich for you. This guy's got to go. Am I right? I mean, I don't have any standing. I'm not a Catholic. Neither one of you is.
I'm just astounded that I think that you went through all that setup
just for that damn
for that joke.
Well, you know what? But there was. All right.
That is a long line. That is a long line behind the soup
I
counter
thought that
there,
there were many. Look. There was, but the reason that it worked. Let me tell you a little bit something about podcasting, buddy. Okay, the reason that worked was because I was actually informing people of something, and then I threw a joke on at the end.
Okay.
I'm not like, Jimmy Kimmel, just gratuitously insults people and then doesn't have any facts. I had some facts here. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right, yeah.
I had no idea. And in your defense, I had no idea that there was, that the archdiocese took that much money from the.
Yeah, there you go.
Relief.
So I'm being a little bit informative, and you hurt me. You wounded me. Now, will you tell your damn Tylenol joke already? People are waiting for it. I don't care that it's apropos.
All I'm saying is the pregnant women do not need Tylenol because the pregnancy's already an excuse for headache. Or I blew it. Because pregnancy's already a substitute for the headache. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
No soup for me either.
Punishment for critiquing Bruce's joke.
Is it possible for both teams to lose in a ball game? I mean, gee whiz.
Well, this is Block D, and we started talking about elections, so we lost Tom Owens.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
2 blocks ago, so he isn't even listening this far.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Oh, I don't even want to go to this right now. This is more about me. I mean, do you have something?
No. After
Don
Lemon, there's only we know who number 2 is.
Well. Oh, who's number 2?
You.
Oh,
Bruce.
right. Well, we did the Don Lemon. We did whether Charlie Kirk was a fan of mine. Now there's this guy named Kyle Brandt. Okay, you've never heard of him, right? I hadn't heard of him. Okay, I saw him. He was on one of these sports shows, where these guys make millions of dollars because they're to scale. They're in Fox Sports, TV, sure. Whatever, and they make tons of money. And he was criticizing Caleb Williams a couple of weeks ago because he had his shirt out, and it was a funny bit that he did, and and I thought, hey, this guy's pretty funny, and he also looks like a football player. This Kyle Brandt, and he did this hysterical thing about Caleb, and I looked him up, and it turns out that he went to Stevenson High School, okay, and he's a jock, and he was funny, and I thought that just wasn't fair, okay, well, and I tweeted that. And then I got a tweet back from Kyle Brandt himself, okay? This very popular guy in the sports sphere. And what Kyle Brandt said to me was that he was a fan of mine when he was growing up, okay? And that he and his mother used to watch me on Channel 32.
When he was getting ready for kindergarten.
And then at one point, he was on some reality show, and he actually came into our studio. I have no memory of this. And he came into our studio, and he said,
"Mom, that's not bozo."
He said, "Bruce, I watched you all the time as a young man in Chicago. My mom and I love you. You interviewed me in 2001 after Real World and busted my chops for being from the North Burbs. It was funny." And so, yeah, it sounds like something I would do. But isn't it great when you have no independent recollection of somebody who was a fan of it? There's nothing really better than that, right? I don't even remember the guy.
You don't remember the segment that you were asking kids about the Real World?
The guy, and this guy turns out to be a fan of mine. I mean, between him and the Pope was watching me. Okay, Charlie Kirk was. I mean, look, I'm doing a podcast where I can't. I got my partner right now is criticizing me when he screws up his own jokes. I mean, that's how far we've descended. And, I'm going to take my victories wherever I can get them. And if a guy named like Kyle Brandt likes me, well, then more power to me right there. All right. Anyway, so we got to, where are you appearing anywhere this weekend?
I'm in Evanston, Indiana.
Evansville.
Weekend. Yes.
So I pointed you in the right direction too, thank goodness. Otherwise, you would have been going to
I have to leave
Ridge and Dempster.
I have to leave a little bit earlier then.
Absolutely. Get out of here. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.